Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks. Oh, the title's wrong. Okay, sorry.
Welcome to Grand Finals.
Yep.
It's Big Cheers versus Grandpa's.
I knew I was going to forget something.
I mean, it wasn't that important.
Number 10. Okay. Welcome to Meticulous Talks on December 10th, 2022. I am Chris Records.
And I'm Hithroc.
Are you ready? Bugle with us already. We can't go for 8 hours. There's online content.
I mean, I can do that.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. We can end off the stream talking about the Trixie card, and I can just go get some dinner or something.
Yeah, you can do like whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'll cover you.
But no, online con starts in a little less than 2 hours, and we like to allow you guys to go there and not have to worry about missing anything that we say. So we'll be trying to hold ourselves to that, which means 12 cards, 2 hours, 120 minutes, 10 minutes per card, which I think is reasonable.
More than enough. I think we'll be done sooner than that.
Yeah. We are going to be doing both core and adventure for each one.
Yep.
Get started up. And as a reminder, we are judging metagame impact, not card quality per se. Which, at least, frankly, in both of these metas, there's some caveats that come with that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we are proceeding under the assumption that the metagame will persist as it is right now, that nothing's going to get banned, that nothing's going to get adjusted to any existing decks.
Yeah.
So I can certainly tell you that in my notes, a card named Fluttershy Stunning Wonder comes up a lot despite not being in this set.
Does it? Yeah, I guess it does make sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of this is pretty good, but is it better than Fluttershy? Probably not. So
I literally have the word Zippo in one of my ratings.
Yeah, that's also true over an adventure. So with all of that said, let's get to it.
Yeah, let's go.
So I do have that timer up there. I shall get it started. So we are starting off with the main, Sandbar and Yona. We already talked about this card text. I guess I'll just go over quickly again. So at the end of your turn, if you have no action tokens, you get to put a friendship counter on this card. And then if you get to 2, then you get to turn it over. So essentially spend all your action tokens for 2 turns, and then get it flipped over. And then on the boosted side, when you play a card with white play requirement, give a character +2 power until the end of the turn. And I will start with core.
So this is Octavia at home, right?
Pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
So if like set reviews go, they usually also kind of show our beliefs about colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly don't have that much faith in white. I think this main is good, right? I think it's a good white main.
Yep.
And I think people will try it out, but I don't think it will be very present in the main, right?
Yeah. There's no argument that this is a solid baseline white main. Probably, well, almost certainly one of the best ones that the colors got right now in core.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's going to see play. People are definitely going to try it out. Is it going to make an impact on the metagame as things stand? I think that's
No.
yeah, much harder to say.
Maybe in the future though. But
Oh yeah, quite
right
possibly.
right now, I just don't. I don't have belief in white aggro. I think.
I am still gonna stick with it and say this is gonna be a farming main at some point down the line.
I mean, unlike Octavia, it works from events, so I guess you're right.
Hmm. Events or resources or uh,
Yeah,
well, yeah, we're not gonna see
but
troublemakers
like,
with white requirement anytime soon.
yeah, but like, what farming white events are there?
Um, well, not that many at the moment.
Yeah. So Bugle points out that this card's name is not Stunning Wonder, so it can't really compete in the aggro environment, which is true. Yeah, I guess Feet of Peak kinda counts.
Bit of peak's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
cost 1 to give you main +2 power.
But yeah, I really like that we have this now. I mean, I was really, I missed Octavia. Octavia is a really fun name.
Hmm.
Speaking of her, let's talk
Well,
about Adventure.
we haven't actually said the numbers. Uh,
Oh, well,
it the card's a 3.
yeah, I think we both agree on the three.
Yeah, we both agree that it's a 3. Yeah. So in adventure, we have to directly compare the card against Octavia because, well, Octavia's in adventure, and that's kind of the big question. Is there any situation where you would play this, but that you wouldn't just play Octavia?
So let's examine the differences, right? The first, and I think the most important difference, is the flip condition.
Hmm.
This card is easier to flip than Octavia. Octavia, you need to confront.
Yep.
Here, you don't need to confront anything. You just need to play cards or draw cards. So it's much easier to flip this card, I think, like Octavia. So, and that was kind of I think, the sticking point of Octavia, right? It's the flip condition. And unlike Octavia, it does trigger from events and things like that.
Hmm.
But I think that's less important than the fact that Octavia triggers from tokens, from things you don't actually play, from any color, and from your opponent's stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it is all location restricted. And that was kind of the thing about Octavia. You had to think about the fact that you'd always need something at a problem. But I think the fact that, like, tokens especially synergize so well with Octavia just makes her better, I think.
So the one thing that I have for this card in adventure is that
Okay.
Octavia's design kind of nails her down to one specific deck archetype. Like there's one way to do Octavia, and that's just how you do it.
Yeah, you can't
And
farm with Octavia. I guess you can farm with this card.
yeah, and if that if that style of deck doesn't work in the current metagame, then well, Octavia's just out. And I think the fact that this card is a little bit more flexible. Like it's aggro, but given you can go with resource focus, you can go with event focus, you can go with friend focus. There are slightly different ways to do it. I think it has that edge of potentially being able to be around in more environments than Octavia might be able to last in.
I'm not convinced. I think, like, in those environments, you usually just go with another main because they're like, if you want to farm, just don't pick Yana, pick Selena or something. I don't know. There's
Hmm.
like other options out there.
All right.
Also, Bugle points out that the flip condition is more important for an aggro main, which is, yeah, right. But I think Octavia is not that hard to flip. Like, it is. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's like the major point here, is that this is much easier to flip Octavia. But it's also not as easy as Skystar or other competitors.
Hmm.
Possible replacement for Rarity, maybe. Either way, I gave this card a 1 in Adventure. I have no faith in it.
That's
Uh,
that's fair. I gave it a 2.
yeah.
'Cause I have a little bit more faith than you do, I
I
suppose.
mean, if I'm wrong, Diamond Song will be very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Next card.
Fleetfoot. So 1 cost, 1 power, 2 wreck, all in blue. Traveler. When you move a character with power greater than this card's power to a problem, you may move this card to a problem. To that problem, rather. Now, Grandpa's clarified how exactly this works in Discord a while ago. I really should have remembered it. But it's like...
What wasn't clear?
Well, like, so... exactly, basically, when you count the power of the character that you moved, and as far as triggering this.
For like Traveler, it does not really matter because Traveler will always happen. Like both of these triggers happen at the same time, so I mean you can just process them in whatever order you want, right?
Right.
And the second trigger, like the order even doesn't matter, because the second trigger, like it has a condition that like the second trigger only happens if the condition is fulfilled, which happens before you apply any Traveler.
Right. But the important distinction to keep in mind is the continuous modifiers apply first.
Yeah, but it's the same as the what's the name? Rainbow Dash name that has a similar effect.
That's true, but this is something that continually trips people up, so I think it's important to emphasize it.
I mean, fair. I don't think it changes much about the strength of this card.
I don't think it does. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I don't remember what the ruling.
Yeah. So
I was in that discussion in Discord about this card, and I don't remember. I think continuous modifiers. They apply first, and then the trigger happens.
Yes.
Yeah, and the Beagle actually said that you check the exact moment it arrives at its destination.
Yeah. So, I think the biggest saving grace that this card has, and the reason why I think it might have some possibilities. Okay, well, so the first, Incore. The first situation that occurred to me is this card just following around Shoeshine wherever she goes and always staying one step behind, which is certainly an interesting possibility, but probably unlikely to happen.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just run Shoeshine.
Well,
you don't need this card when you have Shoeshine.
Yeah.
Like, this card can only be useful like if you're not playing yellow, right? Because otherwise you just play Shoeshine. I don't think there's value in having both of them in the same deck. And I think there are some other cards you'd rather have instead.
Yeah.
But outside of yellow, like we have what? Blue what? Or mono blue?
Well, I mean,
maybe in the mono blue deck.
There's pink blue, there's Cadence blue.
Oh yeah, pink blue. That's true.
Yeah. And the other important thing to remember is that Traveler is optional. So you can have this sit just below whatever friend you're going to be moving around more often. Party Mare works too. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. But yeah, if you want this to just sort of always be consistently able to be moved, you can just not do the Traveler and have it follow along behind something.
Yeah. But like this card, so if you do that, right? We already have cards that are like do the conga line thing. And those pretty much don't see play. I think we've seen them like a couple of times, but not often. And like if you are not using Traveler, it's just a cheaper version of a conga line.
I mean, it costs 1 for like 2 or 3 power.
I think that's the only thing that's really good about it, is that it's low it's kind of like Shoeshine, right? You just play it and like
or Party Mare, yeah.
Or Party Mare, yeah. I think Party Mare is a better comparison to Shoeshine. Because Party Mare also moves for free and also has Travel. But unlike Party Mare, there's no unlike Party Mare. In Party Mare, you have no reason to never ever not use Travel.
Yeah.
So I gave this card in core at 2.
Which I also did. I think the aggro decks are really well tuned, and and this, while this is an interesting idea, it's probably not going to find its way into them.
So now adventure.
Now, adventure, I think this card has a real good shot because I think
Yes,
this totally goes in Hot Wings.
exactly. That's why I gave this card a 4.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
You just cap it at 2, and then it just follows your Bluna wherever she goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or you can play a little risky. If you have a stick, you can cap it a little larger. But yeah, it's Luna's. Like, it's not a hasty thing, but I think it's really good with Bluna, right? Because
Yeah.
you pay for 1, you move Bluna for 1 AT, put this card, and yeah, it's 1 power, but you can find plenty of problems that are confronted with 4 power alone. Like, well, actually, I don't know, but there are some. And then, yeah, it just moves Luna around. Already has access to Squabble. If only I could remember what card is that.
Yeah, no, it's the Sequestria card. I just need to remember what exactly it does.
I mean, but Squabble is 2 AT and exhausts characters.
Yeah,
This one is not 2 AT and does not exhaust characters.
Yeah, like this card is 1 AT. Your main has +2 power.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is, I think Luna decks would pay for that.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I think. Yeah, but like talented Scootaloo.
Admittedly, the Harmony Scootaloo that's a fair point. Because that one is, well, that one's Pegasi only. Which admittedly
doesn't move. But doesn't move with Bluna.
Admittedly, Hot Wings decks are mostly Pegasi.
Yeah, but it doesn't move with Bluna.
Hmm.
It moves when something enters play, which, I mean, Rutherford is not a Pegasi. I guess Spitfire is. Pinkie Pie is definitely not a Pegasi. So no, I think. I mean, I'm not doubting Beagle's judgment here, but I think. I think this card has a good fit in.
It is okay to doubt Bugle, Mr. I see no way this guy can lose this game, Bugle.
Wow. But yeah, I gave this card a 4 because it goes so well with Bluna, not just Hot Wings. I think any Bluna deck benefits from this card.
Mm-hmm.
And Bluna has always been a very popular main in Adventure, so therefore I gave this card a 4. But it might be a 3. I think it's.
I gave it a 3 on the assessment that, well, yes, Hot Wings is such an old and, again, well-tuned archetype. Like I don't think it's necessarily a slam dunk inclusion in Hot Wings, but I think it's worth trying. Which is why I think it's a 3.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Next card.
Torch. Cost 4, 1 rec, 4 power. Chaos. When this card is flipped, an opposing card involved in the face-off loses and can't gain abilities until the end of the face-off. Opposing friends here with costs 3 or less lose and can't have abilities. So the question I asked you last night was specifically in relation to this card. Like, if I'm facing off against an opposing Sirens and I flip this card, do they get and I take away Siren's ability with it? Does my opponent get a token or not?
Well, we don't know for sure because the rule don't say anything about that. The rules don't clarify when things trigger when they change zones. It's only clarified for. They do not. See, I think they do because of how entering play works, or how changing zone works. But it's not. Sure, what do Sirens do again?
Sirens is when they leave play, they create a token of themselves. And
yeah, when this card leaves play,
yes, the dismissal happens before the face-off ends because it happens as the defeat step. But the question is, when exactly does leave play happen? When exactly does that trigger fire?
When the card leaves play, but we don't like. So when the card enters play, right? It happens when the card is already in the play zone. That's first thing.
Right.
Second thing, when the card leaves play is not clarified because the rules just don't say that. But when they are dismissed, they also become a new card.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
And
When
the
they
modifier
transition
does not.
zones, the modifier falls off. Yes.
Yeah, the modifier falls off, and I think the trigger happens after it. Like it has to transition the zone in order for it to leave play, right? It's like if it did not transition the zone yet, then it did not leave play yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it does not make sense for the trigger to trigger before it has actually left play. And I think if that's actually how it works, like if the trigger triggers before they actually left play, I think some of the things might be broken in Harmony because I remember having a lot of questions on that.
Anyway, that is an extremely niche niche. Well, it may not be that niche. Sirens does get played, but that it doesn't really impact the ratings. It was just
Sirens are
interesting.
dismissed before the face-off ends. I don't think this has anything to do with priority steps.
Yeah.
The question here whether the trigger triggers at all.
Yeah.
If it triggers, then something happens. If it
Yeah.
doesn't trigger, then nothing happens.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah. So yeah, it's not really. I didn't consider it a major impact on my ratings decision for this card, which basically comes down to does this go in Orange Farm, which I don't really think it does. Does
so? Yeah, sorry.
Well, but I think it is good in Orange Control, or at least potentially. Like this, a lot of the friends that get played are cost 3 or less, and do have enters play conditions that would not fire if they got
so
played.
Here's a question. Here's a question. If you disable bodyguards, do they spawn a token of themselves? If I'm right, then the answer is yes. Right? And if I'm wrong, the answer is no.
Yeah, it's
But why do they spawn a token of themselves? It's because their trigger is still like in play when it triggers. Because abilities obviously don't work if the card is not in play. That's like the basic rule, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
so,
unless they
unless it
say
specifies otherwise, yes.
Yeah.
Which bodyguards do not, and neither do sirens. I don't know. I think I've been kind of bugging Sim about it. Like, hey, can we get clarifications on how cards actually transition zones? What things trigger at what point? And still, we don't have clarifications on that, and I think we really should have. Like, we have in the rules, we have exactly step by step what happens when a card enters play. And I'm not like, why not just do that for every zone?
Would make
like
sense.
We have things about continuous modifiers, we have things about triggers, we have things about as triggers, and I think we should have the same rulings for other zones as well, because other zones have these things too.
It's probably going to happen with this card.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Adventure?
You have not said anything about how viable you think this card is in core.
I mean, I did talk about rules a lot. I don't think it's that useful in core. I don't like. What do you disable?
Like most of the blue enters play abilities, like Bullet and Dash.
I guess
Loyal Pony.
I guess
Professor Pinky.
Is that worth 4 AT?
That's the question.
I think that like it's always with the cards that cost 4 AT. It's just a bit too much. Just play Plushie Dash 2 different. Yeah. Like usually, like that's why Trixie Troublemaker is like she's a very strong troublemaker because it's kind of the same effect except better, and costs you 180, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also a troublemaker, which is really good. But this one is like it costs you 480. It's worse than Trixie, of course it is. And yeah, I don't see it in core anyway. I don't think there's anything that important that you want to turn off.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to remove Enterprise abilities in blue, you can just play Desert Road, which will be so much better than this card.
That's reasonable. Yep. I like for what it's worth. I'm making these positive remarks to justify 2 rather than 1.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's a 2 for me as well.
Now we only have
But not an adventure.
We only have 2.5 minutes to talk about adventure. So
I think this card is great against Zippo. So if Zippo is not banned in one way or another, I think this card is a really good counter to that deck.
Fair enough. I actually was thinking that actually an acceleration of the stuff that I was saying in court, that like this works against every friend in Hot Wings, and Hot Wings actually doesn't have that many ways of interacting with it.
You play Desert Road.
I mean, that's true. I mean,
no, I think this card is a 4 if Zippo is. That's what I wrote in my rating. This card is a 4 if Zippo is not banned. Does not absolutely nothing against Zippo unless you have 2.
Yeah,
it does. It's like a Frighten, right? Except it's area of effect. It does something like, in Hot Wings you have a bunch of Frighten effects, and to like go through the lock, you frighten a bunch of stuff and then do something, and you have like 1 turn to do something. I think this card has like the similar vibe where you use it like as a response to do something at least for 1 turn. It's not a permanent solution. It's not a card for Hot Wings, but I think it can fit into other decks. I think it can maybe it's not a 4, maybe it's a 3. I think Bugle convincing me, but I think it still has a high score. But without Zippo, I think you just play Trixie, right?
Perhaps. Yeah.
That's why you can also against Zippo just play Trixie.
Well, I mean, and perhaps
it's not immediate though.
Like,
it's not, yeah.
Trixie has come up during the invitational streams, and people have pointed out that it's not actually that good of an answer. So maybe that's the same kind of logic. So you're 3. I'm going to stick with 4 and be happy to be disappointed.
You know what? Sure, I'll. Oops, I removed your rating.
That's how we're going to spend 10 minutes talking about cards.
I'll be randomly removing ratings.
Well,
I should change this edit to view.
Is the big rules discussion that we had.
Yeah.
So, moving on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Without Zippo, I think this card is like a 1 or 2, maybe at best in Adventure.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh yeah, this card.
All right, Cozy Glow. Is Purple Farm a thing in core?
Yeah, no, it's not happening, I think.
No, it's not. But the more interesting question in my mind: does Blue Farm splash purple just for this card?
No.
I don't know. I think this card has a lot of things that Blue Farm wants.
So, I mean, just purple and blue in general have a lot of things together. Like, you have, like purple has a lot of good events, but I don't think
not just for this, but there are also good events.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You said like splash into purple for this card, and I definitely agree with Bugle. Just for this card, it's definitely not worth it. But maybe just to pick up a lot of like purple other stuff, because again, purple blue go really well together. So maybe, but like then again, you probably want other purple stuff instead, right? I don't think this card is that worth it.
I mean, it's gonna flip high. It solves the problem of you having to, well, at least sometimes solves the problem of you having to move your main character to the place that you play the Troublemaker with, so it saves you AT.
No, it doesn't, because I mean, you have to play the Troublemaker, and the Troublemaker is gonna uncover next turn. Like, you have to be there for the entire turn. It'd be much better if it lets you move like at the start of the turn or something. But I think it's very, it costs 2 AT. If this card was 1 AT, I would say maybe. Did we have another purple card that was 1 AT and was? Oh, it was those good like for Troublemakers.
We've had several purple cards that are good for Troublemakers.
Let me find. There's also like a friend that costed 180 and did something useful. But maybe I'm remembering something else. Oh, you know what? Why don't you splash in Trixie? That replaces your flip.
Well, sure. Why not
or
that
at
too?
the start of face-off. Well, because you only have so many cards in your deck.
So, like, you know, Blue Farm has been the utility color. Like in Adventure, Blue Farm actually does splash purple for the events that it gets.
Yeah, for the events, not for this. I don't think this card will make the cut. You know.
Okay, and
that's
again,
why I give it a 1 and not a 2.
To be fair, I'm doing all this argument to justify the 2 over the 1 because I'm pretty sure that Pancake is gonna try it because he's gonna look. Pink's not good. Yellow's not good. Let's try purple just to see how that works.
You know what? This is called meta game. Like, yeah, it's gonna see play because Pancake will play it.
That's the metagame. That's how farm works.
It is a meta read. Yeah, I gave this card a 1 in both of the formats. Because I don't think in Adventure there's anything different. If anything, in Adventure there's more events you want to run that are purple. Like, if you're in purple, you probably have other stuff to do. So yeah. 1-1.
I 2-2. I agree that it's as good in Adventure as it is in Core. Same reason.
All right, let's go next.
Okay, next up, Doctor Who's 2 cost, 2 power, 5 requirement. Hasty. You may, when you play this card, banish a friend, then put that friend into play. It's Portal. It's a friend.
Yeah, it's a Portal friend. I mean, Doctor Who makes sense, right?
Yep.
Portal effect on Core is nice.
It is. How can...
Is it nice to see consistent play? So here comes the part where Faith in Colors comes up again.
Yeah.
Like, this card is good, and I think it's really nice to have a Portal effect on Core. But I just don't think purple is there yet.
Yeah. I have a really hard time betting against Portal. I'll tell you that. Like almost every year since Portal has come out, someone has found some silly way to make it even more frustrating to play against.
But so the thing about this card in particular is that you really have to believe in purple because it has 5 rec.
Yes.
It's probably not gonna be splashed into some other. And I think that's what makes it at least a free in my opinion, because maybe it's not even a free, right, in Core anyway. Because 5 rec is so much, and purple is not in such a good place. This card does have to be primary purple.
So the Royal Tutor deck that Grand Pause has run in the Invitationals is looking pretty good the times that I've seen it run. It looks like a legitimate contender.
Would it run this card?
It might.
Why?
Because it's a portal effect. I'm sure it could find something good to do. It's a portal effect! Purple always finds something to do with a portal effect.
Let me actually run Luna's Futures.
Let me actually look at that deck.
Luna's Futures. Luna's Future is your portal effect that has been ever since Defenders.
Oh yeah, it would portal Stygian easily to copy more resources. Um,
I mean, no, I don't agree. Yeah, what did I give this card? A 3? I'm changing that to 2. I'm even less convinced from this discussion.
so I'll admit, I wanted to give it a 2 as well, but I am not willing to bet against Portal. I have learned my lesson on that. I'm not going to give a Portal anything less than a 3 because it's Portal.
If we had all the money, this card would be so much better.
Well, yeah, that's true.
We just need old money again.
Now,
Reprint old money, but give her Meticulous free.
now in Adventure, BRB is still a deck.
So yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think this card BRB runs this card. We already have Portal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, having
not
more
want
portals,
more copies of Portal,
there are other ways to have more copies of Portal.
and the deck has those too.
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't think it needs more of them. I think it has enough. Also,
I
BRB
Yeah, Bugle's
is not
right.
primary purple.
It's not, but like the times I've seen it played, it has no problem getting the 5 purple rack.
BRB always wants more purple. I mean, it is better than Discord. I mean, maybe. I gave this card a 3, which is this card will see play but won't be a major presence, and I'll stand by it. I think that's what it is.
That's fair. I think this slots right into BRB, which is still a considerable deck in Adventure, so it's a 4.
Fair enough. I do like this card though. I do like that we have it in core now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love and for what it's worth, I think Sim did a really great job of how to redo Portal.
Yeah.
And try to make it fairish.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully, we won't eat our words later. Because who knows what's gonna happen?
Well, you never know. Yeah.
Speaking of cards, I like.
Well, yeah. You could say that. Yeah, perhaps just get it out of your system now.
Yeah, it's a Trixie and Teacup, and I mean, you can just read the flavor text. That's correct, because everybody needs more teacups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad this card doesn't make teacups. Like, it'll be so cool if a Trixie teacup card actually made teacups, right? Or turned opposing resources into teacups. Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be pretty good.
Be so flavorful, so nice. But I mean, this card is also pretty flavorful. It's kind of the same vibe, right? The counters you put are also kind of like teacups, right? And you remove them to gain AT, which is fair. So this have sound blocking headphones. I know that Steam doesn't want to make new tokens. Like, I understand that the reason we can't have that is tokens, but it'll be so cool though. So cool. I would melt if I saw that.
Happy we don't have that then. Jeez.
So, okay, this card. I gave this a 5 because it's a Trixie card. That's what our rating means. 5. So if a card is a Trixie, it gets a 5.
Yeah.
But realistically, though, in like, you gave this a 4.
Yes.
Can you explain?
This is all about the Royal Tutor deck. It fits in that deck beautifully. It is another AT generator. It synergizes off of playing events, which that deck does a lot. It is a unicorn, which helps with the Starlight Glimmer. Yeah. I think that deck is going places. It is only a 5 because it's only not a 5 because of Fluttershy.
But you have Starlight.
Sorry?
You have Starlight.
Sorry, the guidance counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want more AT generators?
Yeah, I guess you do. Yeah.
That are also unicorns.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And I mean, yeah, if you play a lot of events, which purple always does. But yeah, I think this card is like a fair 2-cost AC gen. I mean, I would love my cover to cover back. That card was so good, so nice to play. This felt so good, unless you flipped card, and it felt really, really bad. But yeah, this is a fair card, and what I really like is that the amount of spell counters you put on it, like, are not restricted by anything, right? You can only remove one per turn, but you can put as many as you want. If you played like 3 events in one turn and then did nothing for another 2 turns, you did not miss out on anything, right?
Mhm.
That's what I like about this card. Another thing that one thing I don't like about this card is that, like, obviously it's very susceptible to removal if you put a bunch of counters on it and they remove the card. You
Mhm.
don't really gain anything from it. And another thing I don't like is that it's main phase and not immediate. I think as an immediate will be so much nicer. And I don't think immediate would break this card, right?
Well,
Well, I guess it would, because you would exhaust it immediately as
Yeah.
you play event.
Yeah, it
Which,
would. It
but I mean,
would.
you have Rainbow Shine, right? You have Rainbow Shine, which is that,
Mhm.
but easier.
Well, okay.
And pink, admittedly, but still.
Yeah, like you do get you do get the increased utility of being able to do like face off chicken and stuff with it when it's immediate. And okay, I
It's not
assume
immediate for a reason.
Bugle says it that way. I assume there's some kind of combo, probably.
It exhausts itself. Like, there's no combo you can't do. Like, if there's a combo, just do it in the main phase, right? Like, I don't think that changes anything.
Okay, yeah, as Bugle said, then yes, it forces you to choose between confronting or gaining AT. You can't get both, which that makes sense.
You have Rainbow Shine, which is also a 2-power, 2-cost friend.
Yes.
Which has a really similar effect.
Yes, you have Rainbow Shine and you have Starlight Glimmer as well.
And
you probably
she draws
don't want
a card. She draws you a card on top of that.
You don't want purple to like always be able to confront and gain a pile of AT, because all of its cards do that.
What do you mean you don't? I do. Who said I don't?
Well, fair enough.
So
I'll just address Bugle's comment as well, saying that you think Royal Tutor might be better than Stunning Wonder Blue. Possibly. I know that Grand Pause has said over the course of the Invitational that he is strenuously avoided running that deck against Fluttershy because he thinks it's a total blowout. And fair enough. We haven't actually seen the evidence, but that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Just to put it out there. Anyway, yeah, as you said, I gave it a 4. You gave it a 5. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we move on to Adventure?
I mean, I think Adventure is pretty much the same as Core for this card, right? There's not much changes.
Well, I would just say that I think it goes in Thorax Purple, where it's actually probably better than Starlight Glimmer because it works on Thorax. And has some potential applications in the control decks in Adventure as well.
Yeah.
So yes, also a 4.
Are there purple decks in Adventure? They're like good.
Yeah, Thorax Purple is great.
Okay.
And BRB uses purple.
Yeah, fair enough. I do like this card. Not just because it's Trixie.
Okay, fair enough.
But we needed the other Trixie. We had the preview of the Tricon Trixie. I really like that card. I'm so disappointed that it's not in this set.
It could still be coming, yeah.
I really hope so. It was really good.
It was really good. I really liked it too.
Maybe that's the reason it's not in this. All right, let's move on.
Sure.
You have 3 minutes to spare on tricks, yeah? You could fill that time.
It's true. I mean, we'll come back to it at the end if we need to.
Okay, discard.
Stellar Flare, yes. 2 cost, 1 rec, 2 power, unicorn. When this card enters play, get a unicorn. When it leaves play, get a unicorn. Tokens prepared. Yada yada yada.
4 power for 280?
Sorry?
4 power for 280?
Kinda. I mean, you don't get all 4 at once.
Nope. But you also get prepared.
It's true. You get 3 power for 2 AT, and then 2 power later. Kind of.
Okay, why is it a free cursor?
Let's see. Let me just quickly go through my notes again. Right. I think this card is worth trying in the Skystar Chaos Control list. Like, you know, that list already does bodyguards. This is kind of like a. It would be an option if you need to get online earlier, because it does get some unicorns set up earlier. Not a for sure, but I think it is an option there.
You know what this card is actually for? It's for Acellus.
Yeah, it's also a fair point.
It's 1 rec, gives you a token, which is 0 cost, which is really good for Acellus. But Acellus is not. Oh my god, I keep removing stuff. Acellus is not popular or good right now, so. And like in general, white in core right now is kind of you know.
Well,
and it again comes back to the fact that I don't think so. This card cannot be higher than what I like than the rating of Yona and Sandbar.
You don't play this in Sandbar and Yona.
Maybe you do.
I mean, it doesn't synergize that well.
It's
like this card's amazing.
It's a 1 rec card that's white and like. I mean, it's not like, and yeah, maybe there are better options out there, but it's 2 cost 5 power. Why is it 5? I only see 4 power. Oh, it's 5 power with a
right.
And Sandbar flip.
He's counting the +2 and not the 1 trailing. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and you can like put a token at the other problem and give it power. Like it's pretty good. With Yona and Sandbar, I think, and I think it cannot be higher than that card. That's for sure.
Well, no, like very few white cards can be higher than that card.
Yeah.
In this set.
Like, yeah, you could think like, yeah, this can be splashed into some other deck, right? But I honestly don't know what kind of deck it would go into. None that are in the current meta, anyway. I gave this card something, a 2?
Yes, that is what is on the spreadsheet. You gave it a 2.
Well, maybe it should be the same as Yonabar.
That's a reasonable call.
You know what? I'll do a switcheroo. I'll make it 3 in core and 2 in adventure.
Interesting. Okay.
It was the other way around.
Yeah. Well, speaking of adventure.
Yeah? You didn't tell your rating, though.
What?
What's your rating for core?
Oh, for core? It was. Didn't I say that? It was.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
I said that. I asked you to explain. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't say it. You're right.
All right.
Yeah. So, in adventure, I thought this again. I'll admit my process for adventure for both formats was kind of look at the invitational decks, see if anything goes in the invitational decks. If not, look in the recent TIA stuff.
What deck does it go to?
I think it has potential in BRB. Admit, not a slam dunk. There are definitely great enters play effects in there, but this has a great enters play effect and a great leaves play effect. And that deck already runs bodyguard. So
Yeah, which is just so much better than this.
Well, this card goes good with Bodyguard.
I mean, kinda. I don't think this is a BRB card. I think it's just not.
Like,
Yeah, I think Bugle is correct. Like, it doesn't disrupt the opponent. It's why would you ever portal this card? You would never portal this card. It's just not worth it.
well, if you had nothing better to do.
You always have something better. If you have nothing better to do, then don't waste the portal.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You are all very correct. I will lower it to 2.
I don't remember why I had this card as free in adventure in the first place. Maybe I wasn't thinking.
Well, Bugle, you played this because you didn't have a bodyguard and wanted to have some unicorns in play.
I think this card is amazing in Octavia, though.
It is. Oh, this card's incredible in Octavia.
I wish Octavia was popular.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ooh, it's the purple event. I love this card.
No, it isn't.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, the purple event is next.
Yes. Froze for a second. It's so wait. We're going in order of numbers. So we actually are going to do the yellow event before the purple event. Like, that's the order that I put them into the spreadsheet because I was just going off a pony head and I forgot about it. But these slides are counting up on numbers.
Sad. Well,
cool your jets on worn out just a bit.
Rip. So this card,
Pinky Squeeze. Design a card from Ponyville Cider Fest 2021. The card that's been on everyone's mind for a long, long time.
Very flavorful card.
It always was. 2 cost, 2 rec, pink and blue. Choose an opposing character at a problem. Move one of your characters to that problem. Those characters can't contribute their power to face-offs or confronting problems this turn.
Oh. Why?
Me? 3?
No, just in general.
So, I think this goes very well in Cadence Blue.
It is a disruption.
Yeah, as a defensive play, that deck has a number of friends that you would appreciate the move, even if that character isn't going to contribute power to the problem. Like any of your traveler cards, party mares. Some of the lists run Pirate Dash.
Hold on. So you would appreciate the move, even if it doesn't. Why don't you just pay 280 to move?
Because it's the opponent's turn and the card's not agile.
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
The possibility of it's cost 3, but 280 zip your Discord in and pay 1 to replace a problem is also one that occurred to me.
But like in an aggro deck, you usually don't have you're spending 380 on that. That's kind of
380 to immediate speed replace a problem is sometimes worth it.
Well, also you have to pay 280 to play Discord in the first place.
Well, you use that to search up your final question.
Yeah, I know that you use that to search your final question, but I don't think you use it for that. It's just too pricey.
Okay. I also think that Gallus Control might play this.
Here we go with Gallus again. Yeah, I remember that deck, but
it faded away.
It does not exist, though.
No, it totally existed before it stopped existing.
Yeah, that's what I mean by it does not exist. At some point it existed, and now it doesn't.
I think it could come back.
It could come back for free?
Sorry?
Well, you gave this card a free. And
again, everything has to be tempered against the fact that Fluttershy is still going to be dominating the meta, right? You can't give a card a 5 unless it's going to.
My point is it should be lower than 3.
Oh, I see.
Like, you gave this card
Well,
it could be played
well,
in Gallus, but like
yeah. No, the argument is on Cadence for it being a 3, because that deck was still good. Like nobody played it in Invitational, but Elfenpen was winning tournaments with it still.
nah, I think it's a 2.
Okay, fair enough. Now we're
Oh,
both in agreement in Adventure,
yeah,
because the question is, does it go into Hot Wings? And the answer is no. Right?
yeah. Hot Wings is packed enough with stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, no, never mind. No. Never mind. I had the thought and it was wrong. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's 1. I don't think this card goes into anywhere in Adventure.
Yeah. So we both give it a 1 in Adventure.
Yeah. Okay, scary story.
Scary story.
Even though in a spreadsheet it's
Well, that yeah. As I said, I was going down the Ponyhead order, in the spreadsheet. My apologies, but yes, scary story is the next one up. 1 cost, 3 rec, 4 power. I'll just finish. Immediate speed, choose an opposing character, and that character has 0 power and can't gain or lose power.
It's great against Thorax.
Right. Until the end of the turn. I was looking for that clause after it, and it's at the start. Okay. Yeah. Until the end of the turn. It is amazing against Thorax. It is yeah, that's really really dunks on Thorax. Also probably pretty good against Blue Farm, for what that's worth. Not very good against Orange Farm, unfortunately. Like, not awful, but okay-ish. Not great.
Well, the way I see this card is it's kind of a worse version of a Satisfactory Word.
Yeah.
It's better because it doesn't bounce the friend. Sometimes that's relevant, right?
And doesn't require a Pegasus, for what that's worth.
And doesn't require a Pegasus to choose any character instead of 2 less power. But let's be honest, a lot of things that get bounced back are often 2 or less. So you don't. And I mean, let's be honest. You're running Fluttershy. So you do have a Pegasus.
Not necessarily.
I mean,
well, no.
I guess you're playing Thorax.
No, yeah. Thorax doesn't play this card. Thorax does not care at all about this card.
And so the question here is: would you run this card in addition to Because I think in most of the situations, if you like choose between this one and Unsatisfactory, you would pick Unsatisfactory pretty much every time. But would you run this card alongside? Maybe it's a sideboard card against BRB. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah, because like yellow decks are often short on disruption and interaction, and granted they're doing okay without it, but it's still always worth considering to maybe have a little bit more than 3 copies of a card. Yeah. Oh yes, and also Bugle mentions the ability to drop it on at the start of an opponent's turn if they only have 1 character that's giving them color rec, and just or
I mean,
or as a reply to Rush Makeover as well. Yes, very good.
Yeah, but it's kind of specific though.
Yeah, like it is. You only block them for that 1 turn. Obviously, still very worthwhile, but yes, worth pointing out.
Yeah. Well, I gave this card a 3 in core. I think that's mostly because this card is amazing, but because yellow is amazing.
Yep.
Beagle thinks it's better than Unsat in most cases. I don't know about that. I don't think I quite agree with that, but yeah, I mean, I think this card is good enough to warrant a 3, and like even the fact that I'm comparing it to Unsat is already means something, right? Unsat is such a staple in yellow.
Yep. It's
yeah,
it's pretty good against control. It's quite good against, as I mentioned. I think this is a pretty solid anti-farm card for yellow. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a consideration in any yellow deck. And sorry, if I haven't said the number yet, 3.
Yeah, we agree on that. So adventure. I think
Adventure.
for adventure, nothing changes.
I
It's
think
exactly the same situation.
I think the same, except that this goes in the zipper will list, doesn't it?
What's it? I don't think that like Zippo already has this effect.
Right, but
Once it has the combo.
sometimes it needs this before it has a combo up.
Then you do other stuff. Like I don't think. Maybe I don't know. I think it's the same rating
Okay.
as an.
I gave it a 4 because I think it's going to be in the zipper will list, and thus it is in a top deck.
Yeah, and I gave it a 3. I think the situation is exactly the same.
Well, so like it is worth pointing out that in adventure it's much more relevant to be able to play this against Thorax.
I mean, sure, but free. The card must see play, but won't be a major presence. May also apply to sideboards.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's a sideboard against Thorax.
Fair enough. I am a little sad that you can't target your own friends with this. Your own characters with this. More for that Thorax Queen Novo face off jujitsu.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I was like, he's gonna talk about Queen Novo.
Exactly.
Anyway. All right. Finally. The good event.
The good event, yes. Chal, do you want to take this one?
I like the art. So yeah, it's a purple event, 1 rec, which makes it really easy to splash into. Like really easy, right? Anything purple and you're already good. And it moves at immediate speed. A character for 180, it's like Magicite, but cheaper, right? I guess it flips only for free, but not like that didn't stop people from running map cakes. And I mean, there is a downside, which is until the end of the turn you can't play events. But honestly, I don't think it's relevant a lot of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you plan to play more disruption, you just play that other disruption first, right?
Yep.
And if you have nothing else, you just play this card and you don't care that you cannot play events. It just does not matter. I think this card is really, really good.
Yep. Low cost, low rec. It's easy to include in almost every purple deck.
And non-purple deck.
Well, it must
it's
be
easy to include in any. Well, yeah,
it is. Yeah, it is a purple deck if it's including this.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, if you have any consideration to having purple in your deck, you have to consider putting this card in there too.
Yeah.
Same as with Tranquility, really.
Yeah.
I think it is a supernatural fit in the purple tutor deck, which is, funnily enough, one of the decks that can get around its restriction by copying it. But yeah, it's going to be a Crown of Purple, which is not going to be a top deck because of Fluttershy, but still 4.
Yeah, I agree on 4, and yeah, I mean, it's not like a meta-defining card. It's not like we haven't seen Disruption before, but it is a really good card. I think it might be a staple and like it's a cheap event. Purple loves cheap events.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this card is really good.
Yep.
And the downside is, I mean, I wanted to say negligible, but maybe it isn't. It looks kind of negligible. You can usually plan around in a downside like that you don't really have to pay attention to that, really.
There's gonna be situations on stream some point, I'm sure, where someone's stuck with 3 copies of this in their hand or whatever, and but that happens.
Also, while you can't play events, you can still copy this card.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With like Twilight or whatever you want, really. Yeah, I really like this card, and I think it's really good.
Yeah. In Adventure, there are just more purple decks that might want to play this.
Yeah, it's just the same but better,
Yeah. Like almost every purple deck I've mentioned so far would want it. Even the blue farm that splashes into purple might even consider this.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a low flip, maybe not. But
yeah, also 4.
yep, also 4.
Really good event. We need more purple, more.
I'll wait to see what this one does, but yes,
more. You know the Zoidberg in Futurama?
Maybe.
There
I
was
mean,
like
yes,
an
I am.
episode.
Well,
Are you?
I haven't seen that many episodes of Futurama.
Oh. I don't remember what's its name in English, but there was like a moment where he tried, like, I think there was a fish. It was like extinct. He's like, more. It's me in purple. Anyway.
Right. Anyway. Outrageous outfit. 5 flip, 2 cost, 3 wreck. Go someone of your friends. When you confront that friend's problem, we move that friend home to score a point. I want to start out by saying congratulations to Sim. You made an homage to RTO that is actually fair, while still capturing the essence of the card. Bravo.
Okay, but consider this. Unlike RTO, you can put this on a lot of friends, and if you like play rarity that's like makes a bunch of copies of resources, you put it on all of your tokens, and then it's a combo deck.
Yes, it is. It's not beyond the pale that fair cards can go in combo decks. I mean, it's
if they enable that such combo deck.
It's a white card. White cards
Okay.
are always making shenanigans happen. That's just the way it works.
Sure.
Especially if said white card is actually good.
So while this card is fun to play around, I don't think it will actually see competitive play. And it again goes back to my belief in white.
I think, yeah, my philosophy was to give this card the same rating as Yonabar.
I don't agree with that philosophy because I don't think this card goes in the deck with Yonabar.
Really?
This card goes into Heads deck, and the Heads deck still not there yet. I don't know how. I don't know how Heads deck is still not there yet, but it's not.
Because I was pretty sure. Sorry, finish your thought.
No. My thought was finished.
Well, yeah, I was pretty sure that the Yonabar deck was probably going to be with blue to get to get your stuff up to problems, the same problem that Octavia had. You go for the movement synergies.
Okay, like if you score at least one, like you pay 280 you need to score at least 1 point, which you probably will. But like it's so fragile, anything happens to the friend and you're kind of wasted. Like it's.
I mean, fair enough. Blue-white aggro is okay with being fragile. Like this reminds me a lot of way back, old school, like Canterlot Knights blue-white aggro with original RTO.
I mean, sure.
Or at least that's what was going through my mind as I was thinking about this card.
So Beagle points out this card is not Standing Wonder. It's true.
It's not.
But I mean, it is. OO. Not RTO, but OO.
Oh yes, yeah.
RTO used to be like, the thing. Either way, I don't have much belief in this. I don't think it goes into Yonabar deck. I think it's just not worth it, and the resources on friends are too fragile, and it costs 2. But I think if it costed 1, maybe it'll be too powerful. I don't know. But I gave this card a 2. I think people might try it.
This card is going on the age-old mathematics, the age-old algebra, 2 cost, 1 point, right?
Yeah, which is the problem. I would rather play Throne than this card. Although Throne is a much bigger investment. I don't know, but like I think it's too much of an investment for a Yonabar deck anyway.
Fair
And
enough.
like white is not in a good place either, and like Heads deck does not exist. I don't think this enables Heads deck. I don't think Yonabar enables Heads deck, so
Like, it's funny. I don't think Yonabar enables Hatch deck either, but I think it enables this card.
no.
So I'm willing to give it a 3.
Fair enough. And
In Adventure,
I mean,
in Adventure, this is my note. White either plays Control or else it plays Octavia, and neither deck would play this card.
So in Control, you play Mistmay.
Yeah.
Is your point acceleration, not this card. In Octavia, I mean, again, it's the same thing as Yonabar. It's exactly the same thing. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
If it was worth it, I think, like, Octavia does like having friends with problems. But maybe...
It does, but it doesn't move them back afterwards.
We're going to be disappointed tomorrow or surprised. Sure. You know what? I'm always happy when cards see play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to be wrong.
Yeah. Now I do think,
unless it's the other way around, unless we rate a card really high and it doesn't meet our expectations, that's actually not as good as the other way around.
I do think this is an extremely outside chance, but I think there is a deck in Adventure that might want to play this.
Okay.
And that's Sokol's deck. If he goes back to blue-white.
I mean, just because it has a word point on it?
Basically, yes.
Yeah. Man, I kind of want to build a combo deck now where you copy this resource 15 times and then you confront the problem.
Yeah. You would have no shortage of friends in that effort, I'm sure. Is there no more common fraternity than that of building white combo decks?
Yeah. Next card?
Next card, sure.
I think it's the last one, right?
It's the last card. It's Overwhelming Aroma. 1 cost, 4 flip, 3 wreck, hasty, goes on a character. That character has power equal to their printed power, can't gain or lose power. Players can't play cards during the score phase.
Card in the set. Let me quickly check my rating. Is it? I mean, this hasty. I think that's what makes it really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it is white. I think that's what makes it really bad. Like, yeah, it is immediate disruption. I don't think players can't play cards in score phase that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal against Fluttershy.
No. Removing someone's power, I mean, it's good against Thorax, that's for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing against Thorax.
But like, stops Plushy Dash and I mean, yeah, it does, but this card is white. I don't think white decks stand up against decks that run Plushy Dash. Stopping your confronts and aggro.
So funnily enough,
so for Blue, we'll get to that.
Yes.
For Adventure, we have different ratings.
Let's just start with Adventure because that one's real easy.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, like it is amazing against Thorax. It's amazing against Bluna. It is a 3 exactly for the sideboard in top decks provision. Like it is such a key tech card that you have to have it in your sideboard, and so 3.
I don't know about have to have it. Like, okay, so there's the big thing that goes for this card, and then it's the fact that it's hasty. But we had tools against Bluna before. We had Capper, which is white friend that doesn't let things move.
Yeah.
And like that never saw play against Bluna.
Well,
and even if there was a really good white deck out there, it would not run Capper.
It is
this card
easy.
Is better because
like it is easy for Bluna to deal with friends. It is hard for Bluna to deal with resources.
I mean, sure. But like, I mean, yeah, this card is definitely better than Capper. It's hasty, it's a resource you played on a character.
Yeah.
Disable stick. I don't know if you would ever play this on one of your characters. I mean, you could, but I don't see. You know, it's really good against Zipper Will.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah.
So you play this card in blue. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, this card is a kind of a counter to Zipper Will because you can still play cards. You just play this on your main character.
Yeah. And I'll actually point out that
Potassium is a good point too.
That people might say, "Oh, it's not so good against Thorax because it's yellow. They have all the resource removal." Recent Thorax decks actually have not run that much resource removal.
And I mean,
like
if they remove
2 or 3 copies of Friends are always there, and that's it.
And I mean, if they remove this, they're not removing something else.
Yeah.
That's always good.
So anyway, Three's an adventure. Let's get back to the interesting conversation in core.
Yeah, I agree on Three and adventure, I think. So in core, so does Yonabar run this?
So, funnily enough, I think you run this against Yonabar.
As Yonabar, because that's the only white deck I'm considering.
I guess, yeah. The white cards will be responsible for keeping the white decks down.
I don't see this card in core. I just don't. I don't think, I gave it a 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, again, we'll be happy to be proven wrong. I don't think you can play white and not run this unless you don't care about what your opponent does. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Maybe I'm wrong here. But yeah, it's like pretty much the only disruption that white has right now. It's pretty sad. And reliving history.
Yeah, it is true. The fact that this is 1 cost, it is not necessarily always going to be disruption. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you? Well, you can play this against disruption, I guess. But I don't know. 1. I'm not changing. I'm not bulging in this. I think it's a 1, and maybe Yonabar will learn this.
So I'll admit the Anthem's point on Bugle's part is good, and obviously this is a super great counter against Shoeshine. Which is, that's one thing. But I can't get past the fact that yes, Fluttershy does so many things in the score phase, but none of them are playing cards. It's all activating abilities.
Yeah. Scar is also good against Buttimer.
I suppose that's so, yes.
But again, I think there are white decks that like to run this card. Those white decks are just not competitive. That's my opinion. Yeah. I'm not. If we're going by sim rating, I think this card is good.
Wait.
If we're going by Meticulous stocks ratings, I think it's a 1.
Oh, look, wait. Is Bulk and Fluttershy actually? Oh, they are hasty. Oh. I didn't even know that.
Okay, this card stops 1 other card. Cool.
Well, no, Bugle's been yelling Plushy Dash, and that's fair enough. That is fair.
I mean, I guess.
Which, you can just play it during the main phase. And,
you have to play it during main phase. Just if you see they're planning to use Plushy Dash, you just play it once they enter the score phase.
I guess, yeah.
It's always better to not play cards if you can afford to not play cards.
Between confronts. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Or between confronts, yeah.
So, for what it's worth, I'm more optimistic than Hithroc. I'm giving it a 2.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think I'll keep my 1.
It's.
But I kind of think you're right. You're kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, it bugs me a little bit.
It is hard to give it much more without more faith in white. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we're gonna get proved wrong on. is that white is actually going to be good this set.
You know, I would be happy if that happened. Imagine white and purple making a comeback. Oh, that would be so good.
I mean, they are.
Are they?
Tudor unicorns, royal Tudor unicorns. Don't ever sleep on that deck. And actually, like, that deck probably does play this card.
Are you gonna bump this up to 3? We have 2 minutes to decide.
I'm not gonna bump it up to 3. Like, if we did 0.5s, I might make it a 2. I might make it 2.5, but we don't do 0.5s. So
yeah, unless your pages.
Well, yeah.
So I guess let's talk about the set as a whole.
Sure.
Since we have a little bit of time.
We have about an hour. No, half an hour.
Half an hour, yeah. Trixie.
Oh, you stopped talking. Sorry, I had left to get some coffee.
I think the mini set is pretty good. I'm not sure. So, the idea behind mini sets were like to fix some of the problems, right? By just printing some of the certain cards, right?
Mm-hmm. To buff up the weak colors and kind of side grade the strong colors.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that this set will actually do. Like, I'm not sure, but there were some good cards in the set. I liked it.
Yep. Yeah, I think the designs are all super good. There's some really cool flavor in there. The right colors are getting the really good cards.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is a certain momentum to the metagame right now, right? Especially coming off the Invitational as we are, with so much Fluttershy, so much Hot Wings. It can be hard to believe that the ship can turn because there's so much pushing it forward.
Yeah,
but
unless something else happens other than this set.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if like Sim doesn't ban cards anymore, right? They reprint them.
In general, yes.
Imagine if we had a third iteration of Fluttershy. It was one. There was the second one, and there's the third one.
It's possible, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it would be hilarious.
Like, yeah, I would. It's funny actually, because like before this came out, I was thinking that they probably were ban list adjustments coming at some point. But
it makes sense for them to come with this set, though, right? So you can. It'll be kind of weird to release the set and like a month later do like the bans or whatever.
Right, but like
it would make much more sense to release that as a package.
Well, if so, they haven't.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
Given that, and this is getting in Sim's head at this point, but we're gonna have this adventure tournament tomorrow. I think they're gonna see how things are shaken out with just this adjustment.
Yeah, I don't think much will change, to be honest. Like for most of our, there was not a single card okay, so that's the thing. There's not a single 5 other than Trixie in our ratings.
Yep.
So, I don't think anything changes too drastically with this mini set. Without something else happening.
It was difficult. Sorry, go on.
Another thing I wanted to point out, while there was not a single 5, I think what's interesting is that there was not a single card that we thought was what I agreed was like a 1 across everywhere. Like it was just plain not good, right?
Yep.
If you look at the ratings, every card has not in 1, at least in some of the columns. And the exception for that, for me at least, is Cozy Glow, which I gave 1 in both formats, but you did not agree with me. So, and like overall, the average rating of cards here is quite high. I would say it's around 3 to 4, right?
Certainly compared to a main set, yes.
Yeah, but in main set you kind of have to have all sorts of cards, and the mini set makes sense to print good cards, I would guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like it's as I said, it's hard to predict when the meta game will turn. Like I'll admit, I didn't have as much time or take as much time as I usually do to kind of try to game out new decks and try to build stuff with these new cards. So if I was gonna miss something new coming to the fore, like Hugo posted that yellow purple deck or purple yellow deck rather, that he's gonna play in Fast Clip tonight in Discord, and who knows? That's certainly a direction that I hadn't seen anything coming out of. Although I did consider it for these ratings, for what that's worth. Yeah, yes, there's always the possibility of something new coming up. But yeah, it's really hard. You know, people have by now spent several weeks trying to do everything they can to dislodge Fluttershy, and it hasn't really worked yet.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
My hope is that we will see more mini sets in the future, which we will, given that it's what was the name? Like its prize will counter one. What?
It's prize wheel increment 1.
Increment 1. There we go. Yeah. So there's obviously gonna be more increments, and I'm just hoping that they're not gonna be a year from now. I hope they'll be a little bit earlier.
Yeah, one can only hope. So yeah, that takes us to the top of the hour. That's a pretty good time. Give people some time to maybe get some food before online card starts.
Yeah.
And by people, I mean me. We have no invitational stream tonight because Cheese and Grandpa's weren't able to do the recording last week. So we'll be moving that to next week on the 17th. As far as this stream goes, well, 2 weeks from now is Christmas Eve, and I don't think we're going to be having a stream then. Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
So we're probably going to be taking a holiday break. And likely be back for January, I think.
Yeah, probably next year.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, yeah. Okay, I want to ask one quick question about the mini set.
Okay.
Why do the cards have rarities? For regular sets, it makes sense because they go in drafts. But how do you put a mini set in a draft?
Well, you could just
Would you? It's just a pack of all of the cards?
No, you shuffle them into like Fond Memories packs, I guess.
But if you do
according
that,
to some distribution.
How do rarities make sense then? What does it mean for Dr. Hooves to be rare?
So this is just me coming up with an algorithm off the tip of my tongue here, but I would assume that you come up with some distribution that says X number of packs are going to have prize wheel cards in them, and then there's some other distribution based on the rarities that figures out which card goes in.
I guess maybe. See, Celestial Solstice cards were all PF, I think. I think it would make sense for these cards to have that too.
To just be
either way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
I think fixed is the good rarity. Well, that's our challenge for today. Couldn't end the stream without one.
Good point. Yeah. So, thank you everybody for coming out and sharing comments and having your disputes with us about how good these cards are. We shall be happy to be wrong. so long as we're wrong on the right side, as Hithroc said.
Yep.
Yeah. So then I guess, well, given that this is going to be our last one for 2022, thanks everybody who ever came out and watched the stream in that time. Oh, Bugle, yeah.
Yeah, very good point.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Hopper is a really good point.
Yeah. We'll see you next year.
Bye.